Hey everybody, this is the digital asset investor. I am very frustrated. I just recorded about a 30-minute video for you guys, and then I realized that some of my personal information was in it. So, I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do as good a job. I'm going to do a better job this time. How about that? Um, I wanted to start this video. I had a lot. I did a video last week, and it had some information about your exit strategy with XRP, and so I wanted to. I had gotten a lot of requests to kind of delve into that, and I have a tremendous amount of knowledge of the buying and selling of digital currencies because I've started into this back in I want to say it's 2014, maybe late 2013. But I've been burned many a time. I know I've seen people be defrauded. I've seen it all, and so I've also I've also studied and done a lot with the different routes of getting in and how to get out, and so I'm going to go over those things. But there's a couple of things I was going to go over first. The first thing is, and I haven't done enough of this, but I want to do more of it. Um, I think Ripple is going to change the world. I think in the month of July, I don't believe that you will ever have another window to get into Ripple the way you can get in now. I think it was at 51 cents this morning. I think so. So it's a timely video for me to do is to do this particular video because I'm going to show you how to get in, how to get out, how to store yours safely, and go through all of those things. But I really do urge any of you that haven't, if you're going to get in, if you're sitting there thinking about it, go ahead and do it now before it's too late, because it's going to be too late very soon. And in my opinion, it's going to be in July when SBI opens up to the core of their customers. I believe that they're going to all of a sudden be the catalyst for Ripple, for XRP going where where those of us that have been studying it know it's going to go. Because I'm gonna do a long video, you'll hear me drinking my coffee every once in a while. That's just to keep my whistle wet. So, but the first thing I want to do, and I haven't done this enough, is I want to, I stay between Twitter and YouTube mainly with all of this online stuff I do with XRP. And you find a lot of smart people, and you find a lot of uneducated people that say things that are not very bright. And what I've found is that the nasty people on here, they do hit and runs. They don't give you any facts. They'll say banker scam coin and all this business, and then they disappear. And if you challenge them, they don't have anything to say. They don't know what they're talking about. But the people that do know what they're talking about, the smart people that I follow and the smart people that I watch, you need to know about, because I don't want you to just take my word for it. I've done my research. I'm very confident in what I own for a lot of reasons, and but I want you to know where to go to find a lot of the information that I find on my own, as well as sometimes I learn things from these people that I never would have known otherwise. I wanted to first talk about this guy on Twitter. He's at BankXRP, and he also has a YouTube channel. He specializes on YouTube he will upload videos when executives from Ripple go to conferences and it's videoed, he'll upload those kind of things, and I think that's great because we didn't have anybody that was doing that to my knowledge. So I watch all of his stuff on YouTube, but he puts out great tweets with great information. He puts out substantive tweets, so you're not going to get a bunch of garbage from this guy. You're going to get like things that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So I want you to definitely it's at BankXRP, and I think he's got the same handle on YouTube. Next, okay, this is DM Logic. DM Logic is a guy who's relatively new, probably about as new as I am, but I like his approach. He's more of a big picture guy. I think he's about my age. I'm 44. I think he said he was 48 in one of his videos. But he's a smart guy, and I listen to a lot of people on these channels, and this guy will make you think about things that some of the other guys aren't going to make you think about. He'll pose questions about Like he's posed questions about, what kind of, who are you going to be when XRP does come in? Questions like that. But he'll give you thoughtful videos, and he's coming from an angle similar to my angle, which is he's an older guy with kids. He's been around. He's using common sense backed by his study and his research to come to the obvious conclusion that all of us eventually come to if we really look into XRP, and that's that it's going to go crazy, and it might be, in my opinion, it is the best investment of a generation. But I want you to watch DM Logic. He's somebody you should watch. You can have your morning coffee while you watch him have his when he on some of his videos. He's having his coffee. The next guy I want you to watch, this is CKJ Crypto News, and I really like this guy's approach. I watched him this morning do an interview with DM Logic. But this guy, what I like about him is he does a lot of research and delves down into some of the connections between companies and, whether it's companies and capital firms and who's investing in Ripple, and some of the connections there. But this guy's got a really thoughtful approach, and he's a smart guy. He's a younger guy. He sounds like maybe he's in his 20s or something like that, but he's a very smart guy. So I encourage you to watch his too. And I subscribed to him today, I believe. So he's a great one too. But anyway, I want to start giving you ideas on other people to watch when you watch my channel, because these guys have as much to bring to the table as I do. Okay, I'm going to start you off, and I'm going to tell you a story. Back in 2013-14 is when I started doing this. Okay, the first thing I heard about was, of course, Bitcoin, like many of you. When I heard about Bitcoin, I was fascinated. I was hearing about these guys who had been given thousands of them, and now they were millionaires, and that, of course, intrigued me. So I think I first went to bitcoin.com or something like that, and I remember they had this wallet that you would download onto your desktop, and I downloaded that, and I had to wait for it to I think you had to wait for the software to update the blocks or something like that. And then I eventually, and it was hard. I mean, I'm an old man. It was hard for me to get my mind around what it was I was buying, like it is for a lot of people. So anyway, I went down and I went down this rabbit hole and figured this out somehow by some miracle. But what I want to say to you is then the next thing I think I found was Coinbase, and found that Coinbase was the easy way that you could buy Bitcoin. So I had made up my mind I was going to start buying Bitcoin. But then I got thinking, well, with Bitcoin, I mean, I think at the time it was at around $200. Can I really get wealthy off of Bitcoin? Could I really achieve what I'm hearing these stories about these guys that were given thousands of Bitcoin for nothing? Could I really get to that place? And so the question popped in my mind, what if there's another digital currency out there? So I started looking, and I think I found CoinMarketCap soon after that, and started looking at each of the different ones and going to their websites and trying to read up about them. So that eventually led me to a company called Cryptsy, okay? Cryptsy.com. And I found that was one of the handful of places on the web at the time where I could go, and they had all of these alternative currencies. And I could buy in and I could own these other currencies that were where Bitcoin had been in terms of their price. I could buy thousands of these, and I could own them. So we went through, I think it was late 2013, 2014, we had bought the market had gone crazy, like crazy the way it did in December of this year. And then there was a collapse and a crash, and everything was, horrible. At that time, a lot of bad guys were exposed, and the guy that ran Cryptsy turned out to be a bad guy. So I had many friends and family who had gotten on Cryptsy as well. Okay, so what happened, the guy, his name was Big Vern. That was the handle he went by on Twitter. and he claimed that he had been hacked. Well, he shut down the site so that you couldn't log in and get access to your digital currency. What I later found out, when there was a class action lawsuit, I actually spoke to the attorneys that did the class action lawsuit, and according to them, this guy was just taking in money and pretending to invest it in digital currencies, and it was more or less a Ponzi scheme. The guy eventually skipped town to China, and to this day, this guy, there's probably still people looking for this guy. To this day, he skipped town to China with no telling how many millions of dollars. And so he's in China as I speak, and I've heard rumors, seen rumors online that he went to China and opened another digital exchange. But I don't want to get my blood pressure up and talk about that guy much more. But, so anyway, what did I do then? Well, I was one of the lucky ones. I had moved what I had to a different exchange by that time. And at that point, the market had crashed, and I looked at the whole playing field, and I went to CoinMarketCap, and I said, well, maybe I was wrong about all this digital currency stuff. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything I have, I'm going to pick what I think's the winner. And I went down the list, and I went website by website, and I picked Ripple. And that day I saw nobody better than Ripple, and all the way to this day, there is nobody better than Ripple. There's no digital currency worth owning more than Ripple, XRP that is. And so I just, what happened when Cryptsy collapsed at the time, and let me pull it up because I had it pulled up and I got rid of it. It was called, and a lot of people don't realize this, but Ripple at the time had what's called Ripple Trade. They probably still own the domain name. I had sent all of my Ripple they were recommending that you send it to GateHub back then. And so GateHub at the time was apparently the go-to place to, and you can still open a GateHub account as well. Well, GateHub, I never was that comfortable with it. I never thought it was that user friendly, and so I didn't like it, and eventually moved on from GateHub. But I'll tell you this: while I had Ripple there, it was always safe. I never lost any and that kind of thing. So GateHub.net is an option for you. Okay. All right. So after all of that happened, and let me pull GateHub back up. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about now is, because this is all water under the bridge now. So what I want to kind of describe to you, first I'm going to tell you what we had to do, most people did at the time. And I think the thing I left out, when I talked about the Bitcoin wallet on my desktop, I did not buy the Bitcoin through that wallet. I bought it at the time through Coinbase, because Coinbase, up until now people hate it on this channel every time I bring up Coinbase, but no matter what anybody tells you, Coinbase is still a critical part of this whole digital asset sphere. And there's a few reasons that I'm going to go through that's the case. But I originally bought through Coinbase, and while I was doing Cryptsy, you would buy Bitcoin through Coinbase, and then you would send it to Cryptsy, or you would send it to your Bitcoin wallet. But all entry into, or not all, but most of the entry into the digital asset space at that time, really all the way through until the last 6 months, has been through Coinbase. And the way it normally worked for most of us is we would buy Bitcoin. You would open a Coinbase account, and you can still do it. You would link your Coinbase account to your bank account. And then to this day, I don't like it, and a lot of people don't like it. But you would type in, say you want $100 in Bitcoin, and they would tell you how many Bitcoin you're going to get. You're going to lock in a price, and then your bank account, the money would come out of your bank account the next day, and then your Bitcoin, whatever amount you locked in at, will show up within about 5 days. It works that way to this day, and you can still do it. Okay. Now, a lot of people, including myself, don't like that. I'm suspicious of why it should take 5 days for what I just bought to show up, but that's still the way it is. And that's still the reason a lot of people don't like it, as well as that it's expensive. Okay, before I go further down this, I want to tell you something. This is for a lot of you beginners out there. Before I start talking about a lot of these digital asset exchanges, I want to tell you what you must do when you open these accounts. When you open an account, I don't care which digital asset exchange it is, one of the first things you're going to do, you're going to get a username and a password to get in that digital asset exchange. Next thing that you must do on all of these, whether they make you do it or don't make you do it, you need to do it. It's called two-factor authentication. And what you're going to do is each one of them, there's two apps that you can download to your iPhone that are most commonly used. One's called Google Authenticator. That's what most of them use. The other is called Authy. It's called the Authy app. Okay, that's AUTHY, I believe. All right, you're going to download, let's say Google Authenticator, you're using that one. You're going to download Google Authenticator to your phone. And then you're going to sync it. When you're logged into your account, you're going to sync it with the app. Once it's synced, from then on, when you go to your digital asset exchange, whether it's Coinbase or any other one, you're going to go there and you're going to type in your username and password, and then you're going to, on your phone, you're going to open that app, and it's going to give you a code that changes constantly, like every 60 seconds it changes. And you're going to type that code in, and that way a hacker cannot get into your account just by having your username and password. They would also have to have your phone or have some access to your phone. And so you have got to use that on any of these it's just an extra layer of protection. Once you do that, in my opinion, it's very, very difficult for anybody to hack your account from your computer. That doesn't mean they can't hack the exchange's computers. So I'll talk about that further too. All right, so I'm going to go to, before I go back to Coinbase, I'm going to go to this. Okay, like I said, up until really a few months ago, if you wanted to buy XRP, you had to go to Coinbase or something like it and buy Bitcoin, and then send that Bitcoin somewhere to another exchange to buy XRP. That's the way most people have done it. Okay, now you have Uphold. Now I would not talk about Uphold unless I had used it, and I have used it. For all of you newbies out there who have not bought anything, and for some of you who are still buying XRP, this is your new viable option. You go into Uphold just like we did with Coinbase for all these years. You can go into Uphold, link your bank account, and then just like you bought Bitcoin and it would drag the money out of your bank account, and you could lock in that Bitcoin price that day, and then it shows up 5 or 6 days later. Same thing, you can do the same thing with XRP from Uphold. That's uphold.com. You can do that with Uphold now. I buy a little every week, and so you'll get you a username and password. You'll set up your two-factor authentication, and then you'll link your bank account, and you'll type in, I want to buy this amount of XRP. And then it'll tell you how much it's going to cost you and what your price of XRP is locked in at, and your XRP will show up in your account. They'll send you an email a few days later to say it's here in your account, okay? But the important thing is you're locked in on today's price, okay? So, all right, so I've covered the two-factor authentication. Before I go too far along, the other thing that I want to cover with all of these exchanges that you've got to do, all of these exchanges want you to get verified, and most of them will prevent you. The way that they ensure that you're going to get verified, they want to know who you are, and they're trying to prevent any kind of shady dealings, and they know they're accountable to the government in different countries and all this, and so they want you to be verified. Verification involves you giving them your identification, sometimes even your social security number. The places I'm showing you today are places that I know are legitimate because I've done my research. You go do your own research and to satisfy yourself in your own mind that they're legitimate. I know that these are. Okay. So when you get verified, what does that do for you? I'll talk about those on these various different exchanges about what that does for you. On Uphold, verification, I'm not sure what it does for you. I'm pretty new to Uphold, but it probably allows you to withdraw money just like most of them. But anyway, with Coinbase, let's go to Coinbase because I'm going to go back to what all this does for you. How you're going to use Coinbase, and you do need to have a Coinbase account to be in this game. All right, verification on Coinbase, and this is part of your exit strategy. You can get verified on they don't call it verification on Coinbase. They have in your settings you can go and you can increase your limits. You can increase the amount of digital currency you can buy through Coinbase. You can also increase the amount of digital currency that you can withdraw into your bank account from Coinbase. And I know for a fact, and this is part of the reason that with Coinbase you should all, even those of you that hate Coinbase, you can increase your withdrawal limit over $100,000, and I know that for a fact. Okay. And the reason I bring that up is that the only other place that I know that does a lot of volume business in US dollars where you can move large amounts and sell large amounts of Bitcoin and digital currencies is Gemini. And Gemini, let me see, I've got it pulled up here. Gemini has limits of, I think, $100,000 that you could ACH into your bank account from Gemini. And Gemini is a very liquid place, so when the time comes, Gemini is also something but I'll go back to them. So let's go back to Coinbase, and I want to talk to you about this again. All right, so the way we've done it until about 6 months ago is we would buy our Bitcoin on Coinbase. So once my Bitcoin arrived, and I'm telling a lot of you that in case you don't use Uphold or you've got Bitcoin sitting in Coinbase right now, here's what you would do if you want to buy XRP, because that's what this is really about, is I'm trying to show you how you can get an XRP. Now, before I'm fixing to show you a lot of the exchanges that I've dealt with or currently deal with and what's good and bad about them and how they work. But first I want to mention one final thing about Coinbase. Coinbase, and let me show you this, because many of you are GDAX people. Okay. If you have a Coinbase account, a lot of you don't know this. If you have a Coinbase account, you also have a GDAX account using your same username and password and your two-factor authentication from Coinbase. You can go in and GDAX is like, it looks more like a stock exchange, but it's got cheaper fees, I believe, but it's linked to your Coinbase account. But right here, this is a recent thing that they've put on. GDAX is becoming Coinbase Pro, so basically they're going to leave Coinbase behind is what's going to happen. And this will be like a legitimate trading platform. And like I've said before in the past, you'll have the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, and you'll have Coinbase or GDAX, or I don't know what they'll call it, but it's going to be an exchange that's right there with the big boys. Okay, enough of that. All right, so you've got your Bitcoin sitting at Coinbase. What we've always done is we would take that Bitcoin and we would send that Bitcoin. And let me go over this. With every digital currency exchange, whatever digital currencies that they trade in, you have an address for each of those currencies at every exchange that you have an account with. So at Coinbase, I have a Bitcoin address, I have a Bitcoin Cash address, I have an Ethereum address, I have a Litecoin address. I have an address for each one of those, and the address is a big long serial number that you're going to copy and paste. Okay, so let's say I want to buy some XRP. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go I'm going to take the Bitcoin I have sitting at Coinbase, and I'm going to use Binance as an example first. Binance is one of the most popular, most liquid exchanges in the world, and they have tons of digital assets that you can buy and sell. So what you would do is you would find out what your Bitcoin address is on Binance. You would send the Bitcoin from Coinbase to the Bitcoin address that you've got at Binance. Then you would go to Binance's exchange up here, and you would find what's called the Bitcoin XRP trading pair. It'll say BTC/XRP or something like that. And you're going to sell your Bitcoin into XRP, and they'll show you how much you'll get and all that. You can do a limit order or a market order, and it's really easy to use. Okay, while I'm on Binance, and I'm going to take each exchange one by one and tell you what I think of them. First of all, I want to talk about Binance has the same. They'll give you a username and a password, and you can use two-factor authentication. They use the Google Authenticator. Binance is great. I love Binance. Binance is very liquid. It's one of the most liquid exchanges on there, and I will go back to that. So Binance is one option. That's a place you can buy, sell, and hold XRP. Next, this one is one that you don't hear talked about much, and I don't really know why. Bitstamp.net. Do not go to bitstamp.com. Bitstamp.net. I've heard of people trying to use bitstamp.com, and they're trying to defraud people. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard rumors of that. Bitstamp.net was the first licensed Bitstamp exchange. They've been around forever. They're completely legit. I've stored and bought and sold. In fact, Bitstamp is the only place I've ever been able to buy digital currencies with a credit card successfully. I even tried it on Uphold, and my credit card company would not let it go through. Now, the only downside about Bitstamp is that they're in Europe. And so when you're thinking about an exit strategy, if you sold your XRP into US dollar, you could do an international wire into your US bank account. But I mean, I've heard of people losing their wires altogether coming out of Europe, and that makes me very nervous. Now, I'm not saying that you would. Bitstamp is a completely legitimate company, and so don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that swear by doing wires from there, but that makes me a lot less comfortable than some other options, and I'll go over the options. Okay, another place you can buy XRP. You can send from Coinbase just like you can send to Binance or Bitstamp your Bitcoin and then buy XRP with it. Bittrex the same way. One thing I wanted to mention about Bittrex and about Binance that I forgot to mention. If you need, like I told you before, you've got to get verified on these places, because if you don't, let's say you sent $50,000 worth of XRP into Bittrex or Binance. If you're not verified on both of those places, you won't necessarily be able to send it out when you're ready to get out. If you get verified on Bittrex and Binance, I know for a fact with both of them, once you're verified, I think they have maybe one or two tiers. But the first tier of verification allows you to send out up to the equivalent of 100 Bitcoin worth of digital currency. Right now, in today's dollars, that would be over $600,000 that you could send out in digital currencies out of Bittrex or Binance. So these are legit places where you could put your XRP and buy it and sell it. Okay, Kraken. Kraken is one I wanted to tell you about, because Kraken is a great one. I think it's a US-based exchange. Kraken's great. I've used it. I've bought. I've sold. They're great. You'll do the same thing, but they have like 3 or 4 or 5 tiers of verification. Here's my one beef with Kraken, and I've been verified in a lot of places, and Kraken is the one exchange. They tell you when you're getting your I think the 3rd or 4th tier of verification, you have to give them all kinds of information like your an ID card and all, and they give you specific sizes for what they want you to upload. I've tried it at least 5 times to upload exactly what they asked for. I've tried talking to their support, and I have never, ever been able to. I've given them the exact size that they asked for, and I've never been able to get verified. And for that reason, I do not use Kraken for any sizable amount of movement of digital currencies, because it takes forever. They'll only let you send out a small amount each time. And so for that is the number one problem. I can't say anything bad about them besides that. Okay, next one. Polonius, legit XRP exchange. I did read one time, and I don't know the details, but I did read Joel Katz, who is the chief cryptographer at Ripple. That's his handle on Twitter anyway. David Schwartz. I did read him say something one time about how he didn't think you should store your XRP on Polonius because of something about they do it different. But I'm not knowledgeable about what his reasoning was. You can look at his Twitter feed on that. He said that somewhere sometime, though. I do know that. Polonius. I've had the same problem that I did with Kraken. Polonius, if you're not familiar, is this is big time, and they're going to probably be even bigger time. Polonius was bought by Circle, which Circle is in Goldman Sachs invested in Circle, and Circle bought Polonius. I believe Polonius will be Goldman Sachs' gateway to digital assets. It may be their exchange, who knows? But Polonius is a big exchange, and it's great. I've never even been able to get in Polonius, and the reason I have not is because I was able to get a username and a password, but then they wanted me to get verified before I could get in there and do anything. I tried getting verified at least 3 to 5 times, and I've given them everything 3 to 5 times and then never heard anything back from them. It's happened every single time. And I didn't try that when the market was going crazy. I'm talking about like recently, and I've never been able to get in. So that's on them. Okay. Next thing is I want to talk to you about is, okay, well, let's go to Gemini first. Okay. I want to talk to you about Gemini because Gemini is an important piece of the digital asset puzzle. You may remember the Winklevoss twins. Those were the guys that went to Harvard with the guy that started Facebook, and then eventually sued him saying that he stole their idea. Okay, these guys got into Bitcoin very early, and they eventually they started this Gemini exchange. Right now, Gemini does not hold XRP. Okay, so that's the downside. It does not hold XRP. In my opinion, the Winklevoss twins are heavily invested in Bitcoin, and they probably, not in the near term anyway, until they liquidate some of their Bitcoin. All these people know what will happen if they ever add XRP. They know how much money will flow out of Bitcoin into XRP, and I think that that's probably why they don't add it. But Gemini could very well be a very good exit strategy for you, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But it is that Gemini has a lot of liquidity, so high volumes, and what I want you to be thinking about when we talk about volumes, when this stuff goes off, and it is going to go off, when it goes off, and right now the market may have 275 billion in it. Imagine if it had 20 trillion in it or 5 trillion in it. You're going to be looking for a place that has a lot of volume in order to sell out of your XRP at that time. Gemini might be one of your better exit ramps, as well as the places that I'm going to highlight is Coinbase, Binance, and Gemini. And I'm going to show you how. Okay, first I want to get back through these. Another place that's a great place, I want to talk to you about a little bit about storage. I've told you, I've gone over and over and over in terms of storing your XRP. In the descriptions of every one of my videos, you're going to see a link where you can go and buy the Ledger Nano S. This is the safest way that you can store your digital currency, your XRP, hands down. Get one, suck it up. It's like $100, but get one. Okay, if you're going to have any significant amount, get one. Okay, there is another option if you're not going to do it. I've used the Toast wallet. This is a legit wallet. You can download it to your computer. You can put the app on your phone, and then they've got a whole series of pins and passwords and things you've got to write down, and that you can keep protected and safely store it. And then you can send Ripple into this wallet. They do hold a $20 reserve, so once you put your Ripple, your XRP on that wallet, they're going to hold 20 of them, and you won't be able to get them off until that reserve is lowered, which it will be. It used to be 50, I think. So Toast Wallet is legit. That's another legit place you can do. Get the Ledger wallet though. Okay. All right. Now I'm going through this. Okay. Now I want to talk about exit strategy. Let's say that, and I think this is very likely, let's say that I'm right and July is the last window for you to buy digital currencies. Okay, what you're looking at here is from CoinMarketCap. You're looking at the most liquid markets for XRP. That's what you're seeing here. Okay, the most reputable places would be Binance. There's your number one. Notice Bitstamp that I've gone over too. Now a lot of these are foreign exchanges. I want to say Bitfinex is. I want to say that I was not able to get an account there because they were not open to U.S. citizens. These I think are Japanese. I think that is. Most of these I think are Japanese. Bitbank, I believe I couldn't get one there. You can open a HIT BTC as a U.S. citizen. I do have an account there. And that's also another place that you could buy and store XRP. Okay, before I talk about this exit strategy, there's one other thing I wanted to say. If you are not going to get a Ledger Nano S, the safest way for you to store your XRP, I'm going to tell you, and that is you store some of it on Binance, some of it on Bitstamp, some of it on Bittrex, some of it on Kraken, some of it on Polonius, some of it on a Toast wallet, and then get your Ledger and store some of it there. Okay? That is the smart, and HIT BTC that I just mentioned, there's another idea. Okay? That is a way that you can approach this, okay? Because then maybe one or two of them get hacked and you didn't lose the rest of it that you had divided on all those places. But that's a big pain in the butt. So get a Ledger Nano S and just do it the right way. Okay, back to the exit strategy. And I'm almost done with this video. This is the longest video I've ever done, but I hope it's been informative, and I think it has. All right, let me show you an exit strategy. If you had a large sum, this is the smart play, in my opinion. If you had a large sum of XRP, yes, you could go the option, and I've heard people say, well, I'm going to use Uphold because I hate Coinbase. Okay, well, let's look at that. Uphold. If you've got yours on Uphold, what's their bank transfer? The max you can do is $10,000 a day. Okay? Max you can do is $10,000 a day. On Gemini, you can do 100,000. Okay, I've already looked into it. Okay, you can move 100,000. So if 10,000 a day is enough for you, okay, that's great. In the short run, if you're going to move more like the 100,000 amounts that we're talking about, the more long-term trusted way, as much as people don't want to admit it or like to admit it, still Coinbase is somewhere in the equation, and I hate to tell people that, but because it's not just about whether you can do it or not. When you're talking about sums of money like you could be talking about, here to me is one of the smarter exit strategies. Okay, you go. If you're smart and you listen to me, you've got it on your Ledger Nano S. So you go from your Ledger Nano S and you send that XRP to Binance. And you've been verified on Binance like I've told you to do ahead of time. Okay? You can sell your XRP into Bitcoin on Binance. You then send your Bitcoin to what right now is GDAX, but it will be called Coinbase Pro. They've already said that. That Coinbase Pro is already linked to your bank account. These guys are US based. It's legit. It's 100% legit. And then you can dump, and if you've set the stage properly with your exit strategy, you will be able to sell your Bitcoin into US dollars that will dump into your USD bank account. And if you've increased your limits the way you should have, this is to me. And the reason I forgot to tell you, the reason I said Binance, remember, Binance is like a top 3 most liquid exchange for XRP. Okay? It's the and they what they do is they show you these trading pairs. So look, XRP to Bitcoin, okay? It's the top 10 exchange that we as US citizens, if you're a US citizen, have access to. So XRP to BTC from your now the other you go Ledger Nano S to Binance, you sell into BTC, and then you send it to GDAX or Coinbase Pro. Then you go into your bank account. And I believe that in the short run, this is still the most viable option, the safest, and the one area where you will be able to move the largest amount of money if you have gone in and done what I've told you to do before this market goes crazy, before they're log jammed, and increased your withdrawal limits as high as you can get them, because you've got to go into your settings and apply for higher withdrawal limits, and that's how you do it. Now, one thing while I'm sitting here that I just read for the first time that everybody that's listening to my voice needs to know. Read it because it's one of the most important things I've probably said, and I just saw it. Coinbase Pro offers individuals the ability to trade a variety of digital assets on a secure, insurance-backed platform. They are fixing to insure your digital assets, which changes everything. Okay, and that might be the number one reason for this being your exit strategy, because until you know of another platform that does this, this is it. Okay, now I mentioned Ledger Nano S to Binance to GDAX. Okay, another viable option is to do it on Gemini. Gemini, to be able to move who needs to move more than $100,000 a day anyway. But that's another option. Okay, now this is the uphold limits I was telling you about. I want to mention one other thing to you, and then I'm going to let y'all go. This is the Reddit for Bitstamp, and Reddit is an important part of the cryptocurrency world because you can do your own research, and you can get the opinions of a lot of people. You can go and you can look at things. All of these exchanges have a Reddit attached to them, so you can go and you can read what everybody. This is the Bitstamp Reddit that I've got it on here, but you can read all the comments by people who have tried to do withdrawals or move money from here to there. And you can get their opinions or things that have actually happened to them, and you can find out things. And so I say that because go do your own research, read about it. It's important. We're playing a high stakes game. A lot of us are going to be dealing with a lot of money, and it's important that you're educated on all of this. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up now. I'm the digital asset investor, and I'm not a financial advisor. This is all for pure entertainment, and I hope I'm educating you a little bit, but do your own research. Please, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and hit the like button as much as you can, and send this to your friends. Get your Ledger Nano S. I can't say that enough. I'm going to keep saying it. Those guys that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, go check them out. Also, I still have the contest running. The way the contest works, on July the 1st, I'll be giving away 300 XRP. And all you have to do is, I want you to show me what you're going to do when you finally cash out on your XRP. Are you going to buy a Lambo? Well, if you are, put a picture of the Lambo on Twitter, and you've got to, I want you to do a hashtag XRP, do a an DAI XRP giveaway, and then also tag me in your when you post the picture, and you'll see my Twitter feed up there. So anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I hope I haven't given you too much, but I wanted to give you a very thorough video today. So you've got all my thoughts now. Thank you for watching.